Thank you, and I would say Dr. Boyd. Can we give everyone who made this day possible a round of applause? The ancestors connecting through the Cleveland State University Black Studies program takes us back to Dr. Ralph Truitt, brings us up to Professor Curtis Wilson, brings us then to Dr. Howard A. Mims, then brings us to Dr. Michael R. Williams, our ancestors. We continued the legacy with elders, with teachers, with scholars, and we are honored with her presence. Dr. Donna White, who served as interim director of the Black Studies program, which is now the Africana Studies Department. A round of applause as well for Dr. Thomas L. Bynum, chairman of the Department of Africana Studies. Now, for me to get into a teaching mode, I'm told that the interest of Dr. Lloyd is to educate. To educate means to bring out. To bring out, and most importantly for us on a Juneteenth celebration, for us who are 50 years or older to celebrate, we have a blessing to thank God for. However, to pass it on to the next generation is what is most important. So I need 5 volunteers. I'll need their parents to come up, and these 5 volunteers are some of the youngest amongst us. So can I get one volunteer to come up and the parent to come forward with them to be over in these areas, as I'm going to ask them to escort that up on stage. I have one. I need 4 more. Come on up on stage, young lady. Come on up on stage. The parent will stay on the ground level. I have 4 more. I have a second, so I need 3 more. I have a third. I need 2 more. The parents would need to come down. I have a 4th. I need 1 more youth. Come and stand in the front over here, y'all. Come and stand in the front. Come over here to my left. Y'all bear with me, we have a need for a little bit of a setup arrangement. I'm going to line these individuals up. The person with the ink pen, I gave 2 of them an ink pen. Can you all come stand here? Stand here as close to the podium for me. And face your audience out here. We're going to ask the brother with the Abraham Lincoln top to come stand next. Then I'm going to ask Frederick Douglass to stand next. And then I'm going to ask General Gordon Granger to stand over there. I'm going to ask my sister to stand in front of General Granger there. Fit in there. At this time, with the youth organized, I am limited, even with being the first African American to get an MFA from Case Western Reserve University, completing a PhD program in American Studies up to the point of the dissertation, Dr. White. I do not have the power to proceed. We have a very distinguished guest in our audience, and we must identify them at this time and show their right to start or stop this program. And that will be the elder, the eldest amongst us. So wave your hand. You're not going to make it up here identified as the elder, but wave your hand if you've been blessed with 60 years. All right. I think I see some wisdom in the audience that extends up into the decade of 7 decades on this earth, to have memories of 7 decades. Someone 70 years old or older, raise your hand. They are here. Thank God for the wisdom of those who decided to get a bus to bring some of our elders here to join us with the youth, because that is what culture is, passing your information to the next generation. Now we are going to get to the top. That is someone 80 years or older, raise your hand. Already sat on the front row. We know what to do, Cleveland. Now I'm going to go up and identify, are they 85 or older on that front row? Are we distinguished on this Juneteenth celebration, where God has blessed us with this beautiful day, this beautiful sunlight, to have someone 90 years of age with us in the tent and back here, 90 years. Now we are going to proceed a little further. Are they 92 or more? We need honesty now. 93? Is anyone? Our sister elder is in the front row here, identified of having the wisdom of 92 years of age. Young people, before you, when you leave the stage, please go down and greet her, okay? Now we get to my presentation, my dramatic presentation, which is supposed to be I'm going to just very briefly get you this introduction now of some of the history. We're going to start with the two young ladies who have a weapon on them. Now, where are these parents? Did you know they're carrying a weapon? Can you hold up that weapon that I gave you? And I apologize for giving a child a weapon, but we gave them an ink pen. One of the most powerful weapons. Harriet Beecher Stowe was identified by President Abraham Lincoln, raise up the cap, Abraham Lincoln, was identified of having started the Civil War because she wrote the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. Give a round of applause for these young ladies, these next generation of scholars who are going to go to school and learn how to write. Abraham Lincoln then came and again led us through the Civil War and came to the point of the Emancipation Proclamation. 1863, we often say that the Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves. Two things wrong. They were not slaves, they were Africans who were enslaved. The other thing is that the Emancipation Proclamation did not free all of the enslaved people. It freed only those who were in the states that were rebelling against the Union. So with that, we come to Juneteenth celebration, where we're able to end the Civil War and then end slavery with the 13th Amendment. Raise your cap. That straw cap is Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass gave a very important speech and collaborated with our president and said he was going to assist with getting individuals, Africans, who were forbidden to carry weapons when they fought before in all the other wars, but he was able to get people enlisted into the war that give us the celebration that we have today. Frederick Douglass, colored men enlist. Next we have a sister, a very, very long name, and that is Susie Baker King Taylor. She was in one of those camps that allowed us to say that we could leave the imprisonment, we could leave the enslavement and make it to these Union Army camps to be preserved until we end up on our next journey. She wrote a book about that. And then we come to 1865, when General Gordon Granger received the executive order from President Abraham Lincoln to go down to Texas and say in Texas, for those who had escaped the Civil War and were building their communities, that they were also free. That they were freed if they were able to acknowledge the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years earlier, but they were definitely freed 2 months earlier with the presentation and the conversation of the ending of the Civil War and the executive order that General Granger gave in 1865, Juneteenth. Do you all understand the lesson that we have before you? Do you see that we have a next generation? So instead of thinking that you'll applaud me, as I could have performed all of these characters and I had limited time, I wanted you to see that we have a next generation prepared to come to Cleveland State University, or the HBCUs in the house, or all the other colleges, or to enlist in the United States branches of the military. We have these individuals as the people that we celebrate on Juneteenth through the Howard A. Mims African American Cultural Center, Cleveland State University. Thank you. Parents, you can receive the children.